a one-on-one call with my success team to build you a plan on what it would look like to get you the results that you want. So be ready to share with them where you're at, where you want to go, and all of it. The more vulnerable and just real you are, the more we can actually tell you if it's a good fit or not. And you can ask all your questions and we'll give you that true support. Now, when you apply, you're unlocking Etsy Momentum Day tomorrow. I've seen a ton of questions that's specific about you and your business and where you want your business to go. So if that is you, as soon as you apply, you'll get a link tonight and in the morning to join Momentum Day, 11 a.m. Eastern, just for those who apply and book a call. Get in the room, raise your hand. I will coach you on screen that I usually only do for my paying clients. So we're super, super excited. We're about to take a 20-minute, your call should be in your time zone. It will tell it below the calendar. So good. We're about to dive in and we're going to meet Jared, who doesn't have one but two Etsy shops. His story is incredible. His niches are impeccable. His story with Etsy and how his wife inspired him to get on there. Y'all, you're going to be blown away. Like, you're going to love this. So in 20 minutes after Jared's story, we're going to have Ashley Falco join us. And she is going to be sharing with you her entire roadmap to six-figure earning with physical products, right? Love it, love it, love it. Someone says, it seems so hypocritical to raise prices so much so you can offer a sale. It's what I dislike about the suggestions from Etsy. Here's the deal, my friend. You can either stay on the sidelines with that opinion, or you can address it head on with discomfort. That is the way of the world. Like it or not. Successful sellers use it as a lever to help encourage people to take action. I think it is the biggest service to offer a deal and to help people take action now. Delaying taking action means people forget about you and keeps your art, your creations, your product from the people that you could be serving. So my thought for you is it's time to reframe that. Your thought is not serving you in your business, and it's time for an up level, and that's what you paid me to do here today, and you're welcome. For any of you, I am here to challenge you to go big in your business. Start showing up for your Etsy shop the way that big business does. These are the secrets. There are no secrets to success except success leaves clues. So do what successful people are doing. Michelle says, I raised my prices to offer free shipping. I don't love free shipping. That's one that I leave on the table. I would love to do everything else. I don't like the liability. So those are things we discuss in the program if you end up enrolling. So go ahead, make sure you're applied, get ready for tomorrow, mark your calendars with your calls. Let's go ahead, hear from Jared, and we'll see you back here at 1:30 p.m. Eastern for Ashley Falco to reveal the six-figure seller roadmap. Let's go. Enjoy your break. What if I told you the opportunity on Etsy is better now than ever before? In today's case study, we're going to pull back the curtain on a local friend of mine who has been able to build not one, but two thriving Etsy shops in the past 6 months, had over 400 sales, and has been doing it all on his own favorite family passions. I'm so excited. Jared, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, man. It's great to be here.
So good. Tell us, before we dive into the Etsy shops, I think the coolest part of hearing people's Etsy shop story is like what their day job is. Like, I have so many friends that are curious about Etsy and think they're too busy and just everything. Tell me about your family, your day job. You also have 3 kids.
I do.
As myself. Like, that is
keeps you busy by itself.
A badge of honor.
Yeah.
So tell us all about yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So actually I feel like I have 1,000 jobs, but my main job, I'm actually an executive pastor at a church, at a local church.
Incredible.
But my passion is I just like to make stuff. So sometimes that stuff that I like to make is like, HR policies for a church or like spreadsheets.
I love that you love that.
Right. It works out really well. But, I'm a graphic designer. It's my background as well. And so I like to make stuff just for my family all the time. I have for years. And so you can relate to that, I'm sure. Like, if we have like a family trip or something, I'm going to design a t-shirt.
How can I make this extra?
Yeah. How can I make this like extra special? And I'm going to make something that's like just for my kids or just for my wife.
Yes.
And so that's been our relationship for like the last decade in our family. And at some point we were like, why aren't we selling some of this stuff on Etsy that, is not just something that our family else might enjoy.
Yeah.
So we launched our Etsy shop like 6 months ago, our first one, and honestly didn't think anyone would buy anything. Because we have other real jobs, we were not looking for more jobs to do.
Sure.
And so
when you started, did you have any sort of goal other than like the curiosity of like, wonder what would happen?
I mean, it was one of those things where it was like, it would be nice if we had a little extra income from something like Etsy. But honestly, I was pretty skeptical. Yeah. My wife was very optimistic. I was pretty skeptical.
Okay.
I was like, is someone actually going to buy this?
Yeah.
And they do. It turns out
it's
like
crazy.
You say a second ago that it's not too late to jump in. It really hasn't been for us.
Yeah.
It's been a great time where we found our niche, and it turns out a lot of other people are interested in the same kind of stuff.
Yeah. Now, with your shop, you do print on demand.
Yes, we do.
And digital downloads.
Yep.
Which we're going to have to talk about because it's such a debate, with our like little phase of the internet. We kind of have like 3 tracks, and you either gravitate to one or another, and sometimes like layer them in.
Yeah.
A lot can do physical.
Yep.
Then there's print on demand, which I love. And of course, digital, which is probably the highest profit, least amount of legwork, like easy delivery, which is so fun. When you were doing the research, what led you to pretty much say print on demand is the starting point?
Well, like I said, we weren't trying to create a full-time job for myself or my wife. And so we were really looking at what would be the lowest barrier to entry for us. And a lot of that was cost, right? Like we sell shirts. So if you have, 3 different shirts, colors, and you have to stock them in every kind of size, your inventory quickly gets gigantic.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't do that. Yeah. And so we were looking at the print on demand options as really the only way. Without that, it wouldn't have been possible for us.
Sure.
And it seems like that's probably the case for a lot of people.
Yeah. A lot of my clients that we have actually coached and helped, they get so busy with local orders that they never have time to kind of take on the thought of selling to strangers.
Yeah.
And I believe, and I would love to know your thought too.
Okay.
I believe selling to strangers is the most rewarding and easiest thing
so fun
to do.
Yeah, it is.
Like you're not having to like awkwardly have a conversation with your aunt or your third cousin.
Yeah.
You're able to list something, do really great research, and let the algorithm see what happens.
Yep. 100%.
So you went print on demand.
We did.
What was your how did it feel getting it set up? Like, was it overwhelming? Was it simple for you?
It was a task.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not something you can just like sit down and do having never done it before.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit. And so we carved out a weekend where my wife and I were like, we're just going to knock this out. And one step at a time. I think they're all pretty good. We use Printful.
Yeah.
And we've really liked it. They're probably very similar.
Yeah, very similar.
It just walks you through like step 1, step 2, step 3, connect your bank account, create your listings, set up your design or whatever. Yeah. And there was an experiment period, right? So like we set all this up. And if I go back to the listings that we made even 5 months ago, I would do it completely differently now because I've learned a lot, right?
But you didn't know what you didn't know.
Exactly right. So the only way you learn is just by doing it, right? And so it really wasn't bad. We just had to carve out the time to do it.
Yeah. I love to ask people when they're when we're talking about their startup period, because I was recently coaching last week, my clients building shops, and I'm like, okay, it is common that you do a lot of work and then you like look around and you're like, I don't see any fruit of it yet.
Yep.
And you feel like it's, the messy middle is kind of like what I've been calling it. What was that like for you after you laid the foundation? How long did it take for you to see any sort of like traction, or what did that look like?
We did not sell anything for like 3 months.
Really?
Well, on the getaway gear, on the vacation apparel site,
on your first shop.
That's a very competitive space to be in. There's so many people, especially for Disney.
Yeah.
And initially we were like, we love Disney. Let's make some Disney stuff. Well, it's super competitive.
Right.
And so for like 3 months, we sold like 3 things, like one thing a month.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, then we're not going to invest any time into this. Like we have already made it and it's going on its own, but like, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time. And then suddenly we accidentally found like our niche, our thing.
Yes.
And the thing ended up for us being there's a new theme park that's opening, and we happened to be going there in September. Again, made stuff for our family, listed it on Etsy. And then there are no other sellers in the space. And
You're so fast to jump on it.
Yes. And so we just happened to be first. and with designs that no one else had then and no one has now still. And so that has served us really well.
I really think it's, if you can be at the pulse of a TikTok trend or like a park opening or just what people are actually looking for, like what is the trend of today? Like Etsy can like go 0 to 100 really fast, which I think is, you know, interesting with print on demand. You're not having to do a ton of testing. You're not having to try a bunch of stuff. You can, I think it's such a blessing that like anyone watching can go home tonight, make a listing, make a design and see what happens. You're not having to invest $50 into doing a test project. Like you can literally throw some stuff out there. And I think that's what I personally love about it, is like so much curiosity.
Well, and the best stuff too is it's born out of your own creativity, right? So it's like when you have something where you know there are 1,000, 10,000 designs on Canva already. What would not be exciting is to just take something that's already there and just throw it up on a print on demand product. But when you can bring something of yourself to it and you create something that you love and you're like, I want to have this. Right. That's where I think the magic is. And where other people see the passion, they see it in the work and they're like, oh, this is a unique product that I haven't seen before. And you can tell someone cares about it. It makes a huge difference.
What would you say for creatives? Because we have a lot of hobby creatives that may not, I mean, you obviously have done this for a long time professionally as a graphic designer and all the amazing creative stuff that you do is your job, which I think gives maybe people watching at home a little bit more validation of like, oh, of course this guy can do it. What would you say for people that are hobbyists, like just like yourself, like they love creating for their family, they love creating. What would you say was a big switch that at some point maybe in your career you had to go through to be like, you know what? I could charge for this, or you know what? I could get paid for this to be my full-time job. Like, what would you say for people that are kind of like on the edge of like, would people buy this? Is this good enough? Like,
I know.
How did you overcome that?
Well, I think for me, I would give 2 pieces of advice to that. One is you got to find your unfair advantage. What is the thing that you can do that most people can't? And more than likely, there's some skill that you have or some passion that you have that if you just took an honest look at the people, your friends and family, 97% of them could not replicate. Like you're the only one of the people that you know who can really do that thing. That's your unfair advantage and you can market that. Like that's something that you can turn into revenue in some way or another. The other thing is you got to surround yourself with people who, when you're not courageous enough, they can give you that push. And so, you know, in my example, like with our Etsy shops, that was my wife, Jill. She was like, Jared, why aren't you selling this stuff? No one wants it. Yes, they do.
Go Jill.
That's right. So having an advocate, someone who, you know, is encouraging you to put in the effort, because these things do take effort. And that's why, you know, there's that barrier to entry. You have to decide you want to try.
Okay, so let's go back to effort, because I think this is fascinating. You have 3 kids. You have all your day jobs.
So many things going on.
How much time, realistically, from the time you started in October, what did it look like on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis? I don't know how you would judge it, of time putting in.
I mean, there's a lot of upfront time, right? So like when you're getting it set up.
But how much did you spend?
I mean, maybe to get it all going, the first time we did it, like 12 hours.
12 hours
total. Just to get it all set up, you know, the listings, Canva, thumbnails, like all that kind of stuff. This is everything, right? The second shop we launched, which is Millennial Scribe, which is, we haven't really talked about, but digital goods, digital notebooks. We probably spent half the time, 6 hours, because we were already familiar.
You already did it once.
Right? We already knew what to do. And I would say nowadays on a weekly basis, you know, I'm probably spending a couple of hours a week here and there, just, you know, making sure orders are getting fulfilled. If people have messages they're sending us, if we have something personalized, and then my wife's doing the same thing. So she's probably spending double or triple the amount of time I am, maybe 6 hours a week.
Cool.
So really not too bad, because it is print on demand. We're really just doing customer service. And then the thing that I'm really paying attention to is the business and the marketing, like constantly updating the stuff. So like during my lunch break today, I updated thumbnails for one of our listings. It was like, I don't think this is working as well anymore. Let's try something different. Spent, 15 minutes doing that.
So crazy. So let's go back to when you started seeing traction. Like when you started seeing the tractions, how was it? I think this is one of the most rewarding parts where you could be like, you've done all this base work. You've laid this, what I would call it, like a really solid foundation. And you're able to then be at the park with your kids or like anything like that and start seeing orders come in. How was that for you and Jill?
That makes it so worth it. right? So I think that moment really started, like I said, we didn't make any sales for our first few months, and it was kind of discouraging.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you almost just say, let's shut it down. Let's give up. Like this space is too crowded. And I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad we hung in there because when we were about halfway through, like 3 months in, we suddenly started getting traction. And then when you're just, exactly what you're saying, at the grocery store or at the zoo, and you start seeing orders just coming in, you're like, oh my gosh, we're making money while we're sleeping.
Yeah.
Like what's happening? And it's very exciting. It's just, it's fun, especially when it is something you care about, when it's not just a revenue stream, but it's something that you've enjoyed and you know, you've put some of your own self into.
And is the park that you have been designing for, did they just open? Is this what I'm seeing people do?
This park, you're speaking of, is Epic Universe.
Yes.
It opens May 22nd of 2025.
Okay.
So as of this day, our recording day, it's still a month out.
Okay.
But we're in that like media
pre-launch
season,
right? Okay.
So people are, you can buy tickets. People are planning their vacations. So the hype is building.
This is good. Yeah. I think this is so important for people to think about, like, what is going on in their own life?
Yep.
Where are they vacationing?
Yep.
What are they excited about? Like that is probably could be the lowest hanging fruit for someone at home.
Totally. Yeah. Because I'm such a firm believer in like thoughtful design. That's sort of, if I were to distill like my whole professional career, that phrase is like, you just can't underestimate the value of thoughtfulness, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so powerful. And when you put your work, when you do something thoughtfully, maybe it's research, like you're saying, it just shows, right? And so I think it's not only something that shows up in the art, but it's something that shows up in the business practice side of it too. So for us, we were excited about taking this family vacation, and then it, just we happened to have our finger on a pulse.
Do you think you'll have made enough profit to like say you paid for your whole trip?
We already have. I mean,
heck yeah!
If we could say that today. So we're at the point now.
But like by the time you get to your vacation in September, like that's gonna be so cool.
Yeah. I mean, and what's really cool is because the park that we're talking about, Epic Universe in particular, has been in like trial season where they're having their employees test out the products and the rides and that kind of thing. We're getting messages from Universal employees frequently of like, hey, I have been wearing this in the park and like everyone wants to know where I've got it. And so, and that has been helpful because we're trying to understand where's the line of artful interpretation versus copyright. And we're trying to be on the most conservative, safest side of that. So like, we're not putting characters into our designs, right? Like we're just saying, what are we inspired by from this amazing thing that someone else has built, and let's create our own artwork from it.
Okay. This brings up a big part that I think a lot of my friends at home would love to ask. So I'll ask, how have you, between reading Etsy policy, copyright law, like how has that been? Because for so many of us, we let the fear of what ifs keep us from even researching it and looking into it. So have you discovered anything interesting? Is there any like creative copyright things that you've explored in this process to test? Like, how has that been?
Well, it definitely reads to me like if it's something that someone else made, you shouldn't use it. Yeah. That's just sort of an easy baseline policy, right? Easy, low hanging fruit. So like there are a lot of promotional images that Universal has put out that I have seen Etsy sellers take and put on t-shirts. We're not going to do that because it looks like from the policy, I didn't make that image. Someone else made it. In this case, a very massive multi-billion-dollar media conglomerate that I do not want to get in trouble with.
Don't want to compete with.
Yeah, that's right. But it does seem like, if I draw my own drawing of Mickey Mouse, it sounds like there might be some wiggle room there. Yeah. I don't know exactly what that looks like. I'm certainly not like a copyright lawyer. Yeah. But I would feel more comfortable with something that I made than, something that someone else created.
So cool.
I mean, I like to play it safe. I'm going to stay away from characters in the future. I'm not going to do any character work.
Yeah. I feel like they're, these big conglomerates, they're just paying firms to be like,
I've heard enough horror stories from that.
Yeah, it's enough.
So I think if you are just like, I'm going to just do my own stuff and sell my own work, I think you probably don't have to worry about a whole lot. And then it sounds like that worst case scenario tends to be takedown notices. Yes. Which is not a big deal.
All things we can get through.
You can work through a takedown notice. So
I love it. Yeah. So this is your first shop. Now, you told me it took 3 months to get traction.
Yeah, it did.
So we're at December, but you also say December is when you launched your second shop.
So when we started seeing traction from the first shop, we were like, okay, let's try this. Let's try the second shop. Why not?
How did you actually decide to start a second shop?
It's the same deal. So I have a Remarkable writing tablet, you know, like one of those writing tablets, right? It's not the only kind. There are a lot of these different kinds of things.
Sure. And they're made, like you'd also use like an iPad, like people do that.
Right. Yeah. And so I was, again, looking for like, I want my own planner. I want my own like project management template or whatever. And there just wasn't anything on Etsy like what I was looking to find.
Yeah.
So again, I was like, well, I'll just make one myself. And then once again, my wife was like, Jared, why don't you sell this? So you can see a pattern here, right?
I love that.
And so we listed that in December. Once we started seeing a few sales coming in particular at that time for cruise ship products we were making on Getaway Gear. And so that was enough of an encouragement where we thought, all right, we know what we're doing a little bit. Let's just try it.
Okay.
And so we launched Millennial Scribe, and it's digital notebooks. So these are interactive PDFs, which means they have links in them. Like you can write on them, but then like there is navigation. So you can like tap like, if you're in a daily, for example, a daily planner, you can tap on like my goals button or like April or August.
It's popping you to a different page.
And it's taking you to a different page. So it's interactive, but you're still writing on it.
Love it.
Right. So we made a couple of these, put it on the shop immediately because, I mean, December is prime time for that kind of product. People are like, I'm going to go into January. I'm going to go into the new year and be so productive. And so we knew that. And we were like, if we're going to launch it, it has to be this
before
month.
January 1st or probably before Christmas.
And exactly what you would expect. We had like, you know, if you were to chart it out, like December was pretty good. January skyrocketed that shop. And so most of our sales on that shop came in between January 1st and probably February 20th.
Amazing.
Is like the window for most of those sales. Yeah. And so and that one they're all digital products. So you're talking, you know, after you do all your fees subtraction, it's like 86% profit margin.
Oh my God.
Right. So you just like set it.
Incredible.
And like you're good.
Yes.
And on that one, the customer service is so easy because we've made like we used Canva to make a guide.
Love it.
So when people get their product, whatever notebook they bought, they're also getting this beautiful document that we've made that just walks them through how to install it and how to use it. Because they may be unfamiliar with that process.
They probably just bought the device they're buying this template for.
It seems like we did a pretty good job making that instruction because we don't get a whole lot of people reaching out to us.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. I'm like, listen, you're talking about like these clickable PDFs. Like that sounds,
you have to provide
a little
some kind of help.
Frustrating.
Yes.
Or just room for error.
Yes, that's right. And so what's helpful is like, you know, Amazon, there's it's called the Kindle Scribe. It's the same deal. So we sell for that. And they have their own YouTube video of like, here's how you install
and you can link those resources.
We just link them. So easy, right? It's like, it's already there. Amazon made it. And so we've just pulled those resources together and put them in a guide.
So incredible.
Yeah.
Now, with your two shops, pricing drama is a big thing we coach people on, talk to people about. How has it been for you pricing any of your items? Do you stick to just what you want profit wise when it comes to print on demand? Is it, I'm sure digital is probably a little bit more flexible and different. Well, how's that been?
The digital is so easy. It's like you don't even have to think about it. So what I tend to do is I tend to go onto Etsy. So I'm going to talk about just digital first.
Okay.
I go to Etsy and I will look for similar kinds of products. So if I'm making a project management notebook, I'm going to search for that on Etsy and see what other shops are pricing theirs at. And then I tend to price a little bit higher than average on that shop.
All right, my friends, welcome back. I hope you are having